Buying on the internet. Oh boy, what a wild experience that could be. Everyone thinks they go on there, everyone's safe, protected, and whatnot, but it's just not the case. It's like going into a spooky forest and you gotta watch out for things that can grab you. What do I mean by that? Long story short is, like in everything in life, there's positive and negative. There's people that have good intentions in life, and then there's people that have bad. Unfortunately, some people like the word, you hear the word scam, and it's something that everyone worries about. And at some point, when you're dealing with volume of buying cars, you could be a victim of it. But sometimes it could work out to your benefit, which is the case in this story I'm about to tell. So, in my normal searches of eBay, scrolling, looking through, looking for an amazing, unique, special example that I could profit and make money and grow my business, I came across this beautiful, I think it was a 90 or 91 Amethyst C2 convertible. Pictures look great, car looked unbelievable, the description was beautiful. I don't remember if I hit the buy it now on eBay or I ended up making an offer and he had accepted it. Regardless, I had a commitment of me buying the car. Through the process, you ask for title pictures, you ask for a driver's license, you say, maybe can I get some other pictures of the vehicle? Everything was going along the normal path of your normal purchase, but out of nowhere, I just felt something was off. And my guard is always up when you're buying because you're kind of looking for, is this guy real? Is he not real? And buying on the internet, sight unseen, out of state, wiring money, it's a very scary experience. So you have to dot your I's and cross your T's when you're doing this. And through the listing, I found some service records and I had recognized one of these old school mechanics records. I've had my car serviced by that person before. I knew what his handwriting was. It didn't even have an exact letterhead, but I knew that that invoice was from this specific mechanic. So being a, wise buyer, I ended up saying, let me call this mechanic and look into the car to see if it's a good car, serviced, what have you. But also if he knows the owner and this and that. So I call the mechanic buddy of mine, who I won't name, but he basically said to me, I know the car. The car's perfect. The car's beautiful. But I just happened to speak to the guy the other day and he doesn't want to sell it. He didn't tell me he was selling the car. He would have told me. The guy, rebuilt his whole motor for him. I have a relationship with him. And he said he was not interested in selling the car. So I said, well, that's funny. I see it online right now. I just struck a deal with the guy. So he said, let me, I don't, something sounds weird. Let me get this guy on the phone. So he gets his client on the phone. He merges him in with me. And I said, it's good to speak to you. I'm trying to get you on the phone. I didn't have your number. You didn't call me. I gave you mine. We made a deal online. He goes, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, hold on. I sent him the link of the vehicle. He says, yes, that is my vehicle. That is my car. Those are my pictures that I took at one point, but that's not me selling the car. I hope you didn't send them the money. Thankfully, I did not. I said to him, okay, phew, I didn't buy the car. I didn't get scammed. Within that moment, I said to myself, and I said, maybe I should just try to buy the car. So I said to the guy on the phone, I said, are you interested in selling it? He says, I didn't want to, but how these conversations go. And he kind of said, I may sell it. Well, you're local to me, which he happened to be like within 10 miles from where my dealership happened to be, coincidentally. The car is in his garage. Come over, we'll chat. Maybe I'll sell it. So when I get to his house, this car in Amethyst, it also had a beautiful interior with a purple dashboard, like purple piping. It was a linen like it's grayish, light colored, which back in that day was so error correct. And when I tell you, not only was it just a clean car, it was spectacular. Like the car was mint, brand new, all original paint. I mean, this scammer could not have found a better car for me to buy for inventory. Had everything done to it that you'd want. New tires, full service, engine rebuilt, and a history of ownership that he actually bought it, which is funny because part of the game of when you buy these cars is you like to know the history and other car guys like to share with each other what they love. And he bought the car, if we all remember, the dealership was the Auto Toy Store in Florida. And when I grew up as a child, I used to go there all the time. And one thing I remember is, which he drew as a parallel as a buyer, because I was like 5 years old, is that you walked in that dealership and the cars were packed like sardines. And the same situation happened when he went to buy the car. So I always wondered, being a dealer that packs the cars like sardines, as most people want to test drive cars, how did they sell it? Because there was no way they were moving all those cars around. And he says, I didn't drive it. You know, I just bought the car and took it home. And long story short is, you know, it sat in my garage for the last 20 years, driving it sparingly and loved it. We end up striking a deal. And it all started because a scammer listed his car for sale, but it wasn't for sale. But I happened to buy it because of him. The funniest part is the scammer didn't get a commission, you know. But the best, the truth is though, is that he was the reason I found the car. So I've had situations where I was close to being scammed. I actually was scammed at one point before. It was a very scary experience I went through. But the fact that this guy got duped because he listed a service receipt, not thinking that somebody would see the name on it, because that's probably why he included it, but didn't think that somebody would recognize this guy's invoice. And it happened to be me, and I got lucky enough to buy that car and acquire it because of a scammer listing it. And sure enough, because the car wasn't on market and the guy bought it 30 years ago or 20 somewhat years ago, he paid, you know, not as much as it probably was worth today. And he was somebody that, you know, understood that I'd be reselling it, but he said, I want to give you a fair price. And the really funny part was I happened to buy the car for less than I even made a deal with on eBay. And I happened to tell him. And a car like that, which was not paint to sample, but a special ordered color car, the story ended, a Porsche executive in California had a new Touring in Amethyst produced, and he wanted an air-cooled car to go alongside it. And at the time, I said to myself, I had two daughters, it was an Amethyst, like purplish car, and I wanted to keep a car to have them in the back seat and putt around, and I didn't want to sell it. And I told that to this dealer, this Porsche executive, and he basically gave me an offer I couldn't refuse, which ended up happening to be almost double what I paid for the car, which worked out very, very well. And I have to thank it to the scammer who basically introduced me to the vehicle. It's just a wild experience of buying cars online. You never know what you're going to come across, but I don't think I'll have that happen to me again, where basically a scammer tries to get me and then I end up finding the owner of the car and get the lead. But what I noticed is when I was buying that car, the telltale is, what I learned is the guy didn't really want to get on the phone. He was busy. He was out of state. He wanted to send me paperwork, you know, and have somebody come collect a check. It was just, there was so many different cues that this was a scam. So all I could say is advice to people that are buying cars. And what I've learned in the future is FaceTime is an amazing tool, right? These days you can Google and look up things, but you can have the car also a pre-purchase inspection done. But definitely do a FaceTime and do a lot more verification to ensure that you are not going to be put in that position. And that is something that I have now lived by. And if there's any indication that there is a small percentage of some uncertainty of a scam or of reality of the car existing, I don't take the risk. It's just not worth it. I like my sleep. I like to make sure that I'm making proper purchases. And yes, maybe I've lost out on some cars because of that, but I'm not willing to take that chance and that risk at all. No way, no how.
Whether you see the car in person or buy it sight unseen, when you buy a pre-owned car, you need to get an inspection done by a qualified professional. And the nationwide network of trained inspectors from the Lemon Squad is the best way to accomplish that. They give you a great deal and a great bit of information about any car you're looking at very quickly. They've been supporting VINwiki now for 2 years, and I use them personally because when I'm buying a car, I need to know the full story. So check them out now at the link in the description below and use the code VINwiki for 10% off, and never buy a used car without the Lemon Squad.